don't get so deep that you don't hear what we're saying and do what we tell you to do. All right, like don't make it deeper than what it is. All right, so I'm gonna answer those questions and I'm gonna just take you through a quick process. So again, when I first got up yesterday and started talking, the first thing I really shared with you when I started sharing principles was what? So peace is which part of your life, like which part of your life do you have to handle to get to a place of peace? Say it again. Okay, home. You say home? Yep. Let's go deeper. So you use the word spiritual. That's good, broad, but spiritual. What else? Okay, so when you hear the word peace, you hear the word gentle, joy, like that. So that, watch it. That's character. All right. You get to a place like you're not screaming, hollering, arguing. That's your character. So the first thing I try to teach people, the first thing you have to deal with if you're going to build a foundation is you got to start with a solid one. So you start with your character, right? So when you start saying, when you start talking about the past and how the past affects the future, that's a character issue. That's saying there's a part of your character that you didn't fix. Why? Because you're talking about the past. So if you're talking about the past, that means that there's something in your character you didn't do. Now here's what America tells you to do, and it's really a setup for failure. And they want you to be set up for failure because they make money off of you when you're not whole, when you're not healthy. All right, I'm whole. So I drive one car. I still live in a 2,300 square foot home because my character is intact. So I know people who live in a 2-8, and there's nothing wrong with living in a nice house, but there are people living in a house that they can't afford because they're trying to impress a group of people who don't even like them. That's a character issue. What's the issue? You have affirmation problems. Something happened in your life where the people who were supposed to be there to take care of you didn't take care of you the way you thought they should take care of you. So now you need to be affirmed by people you don't even know. So you got to fix your character first because it doesn't make a difference how much money you make. If your affirmation is not in order, you'll get the money and spend it all to impress people, right? So when you start saying stuff like that, this is deep, all right? So I'm going to answer Terica's question. So watch this. So when you say, all right, I got to slow down. So the first one is character, all right? The second thing we talked about, what was the second thing we talked about? I said, in order for you to be rich, you have to do what? You have to add value, right? So I told you there's a way to know in the relationship if you're adding value, right? There's a way to know, right? Let's just use this number. I'm not saying it is right, but just watch me. 50-50, all right? Now that's not the truth, but 50-50 would be what kind of relationship? Symbolically, what kind of relationship would that be? It would be an equal, right? But in a lot of our relationships, it's 80-20, which means that somebody's doing what? And then somebody's doing what? Okay, good. So somebody's giving more, somebody's taking more. When you hit 50-50, right? So watch this. I told you, get your character right, then add more value than you take. So when you start saying stuff like, okay, I'm sorry, if you are a taker, then that means you're being, what's the root of that? That means you're being what? Selfish. So when you're being selfish, that just means you're looking out for whose interest? Yours. That's why you're selfish, because you're looking after self. You're not thinking about that other person. So when we start saying stuff like, I want my kids to, so that they don't, then we being what? Selfish. Now you think you coming from a good place because you're a parent, but you're being selfish, right? Let me tell you why you're being selfish. If I was to ever say I didn't want my kids to go through what I went through, that means I'm being selfish. Why? My kids ain't going through what I went through. Why would you even think they're going through what you're going through if you're there for them and wasn't nobody there for you? So you're thinking about your life and what happened in your life, and you don't want them to do what you did. They couldn't do what you did if you wanted to because you're not even giving them an opportunity to do what you did. You're being selfish. You focusing on your past and what happened to you. You're not focusing on their future. So you telling them I'll never forget one day I had a conversation with my son, and my son was like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He was like early 20s. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like males, early 20s, you know, it's weird because like you think you grown, but ain't nothing about you grown, right? So my man, you know, my elders used to say, you smelling yourself. That's what my elders called it, right? So my son was at that point where he was smelling himself, but I respect what he was doing. I'm like, oh, I got it. And so I had a conversation with him and was like, boom, 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 boom. And he was kind of like, what? Have you lost your mind? You telling me to do what? He said, you was homeless. I wasn't. Like, Dad, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. You talking about some homeless stuff. I ain't never been homeless. So you telling me that I need to do X, Y, and Z? Only a person who was homeless could do that. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, Dad, but you had me in college and I didn't even have to pay to go to school. I was driving a 745 LI my sophomore year in college. I'm traveling with the basketball program, Dad. I wasn't homeless. So you asking me to do something that you didn't even raise me to do. You talking about your past and your experience. You put me in schools where I never had to fight. So you want me to be, how you want somebody to fight that never fought? I'm just being real. You want somebody to be like grit and grind and resilient. But you put them in a school district where they never had to have a fight. How am I supposed to fight when you didn't give me an opportunity to fight? You talking about your life when you grew up in Detroit and you was going to school and having to fight. We didn't have that. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if it's something you want me to do, you're going to have to help me because you never put me in a position to do the stuff you talking about doing. And it hurt as a father, like, whoa, I did. I stopped you from fighting because I used to have to fight, and I didn't want you to go through that, but that really did make me who I am today. So I'm asking Jalen to be that when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. He said, I don't even know what a FAFSA is. My boys talking about FAFSA. I don't know what they talking about. I ain't never went online and took out no student loan. So now you want me all of a sudden to grind, but you gave me stuff, but now you want me to grind. You gave me stuff, but now you telling me he like, bro, you gotta help me. I'm not saying I don't want to do what you're telling me to do, but I'm just gonna tell you, you didn't prepare me. So when we say we don't want our kids to go through, they ain't going through what we went through anyway. So you're being selfish. So when you start talking about this person ain't gonna do this, you know, maybe I didn't do that, but you're being selfish. And anytime you're being selfish, it's never going to produce abundance. You're never going to be blessed. So when people ask me why I do what I do, I don't lead you in the wrong way because I understand that if I do that, I could get some quick money, but I'm not into quick money. I want to build a long relationship. I want to build a solid foundation. I want us to be, so the first thing you have to do is you have to work on your character, because what happens when you become, no disrespect, but you look at these guys who are making millions of dollars playing sports, but then you hear the stuff that's going on in their personal life, that's because you had a lot of talent but no character to go with the talent. All right, now I want to show y'all how I blew up real quick. All right, I want y'all to talk back to me. When you think about ET and the brand, what are some of the things that you think about? Integrity. That's a long. It take longer to make money doing integrity than to do the wrong thing. I grew up in Detroit. My homies was doing the wrong thing. They was making big money quick and fast, but they don't have it no more. Integrity take a while, and that's why a lot of us get discouraged, because you do it the right way and then you don't see the money and then you quit. But to C's point, when you're building wealth versus riches, it's going to take longer. If you're doing a steak, I can get you a hamburger in about, I don't know, ladies, help me out. You all in the cooking industry. A hamburger takes what? 10 minutes? For a good hamburger, 10 minutes. Bad one probably take about 5. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real, like a little inferior one already made frozen boy. Right? How long does it take to cook a steak? I don't know. I'm asking somebody. Okay, I want it like cooked, not raw. I want it cooked. She's like, it depends. Like, give me medium rare. 12 minutes? Watch this. You got people that'll come in and they'll want you to cook their steak and have a fresh vegetable stuff done in 10 minutes. I'm like, boo, you ain't at no fast food restaurant. You at a restaurant. Like, it's going to take us time. We got to wash our hand, prep it. Like, we're giving you a fresh meal. Now, it's going to take longer, but it's going to be healthier on your body. I can get you something quick, but that's going to eventually turn into cancer. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And y'all rushing stuff. What I'm trying to tell you is don't say you follow me if you're not following me. I work in the spirit of integrity. You got to work in integrity. Because if you do it the right way, it's going to last. All right, so when we're raising our children, when my son said that, I didn't go like old school go, like don't talk to me like that. I went, okay, I ain't like the fact you talk to me like that, but I'm going to have to go in the mirror and do something. Yep, you're right. And guess what? He called me the other day and needed some stuff done. I said, I'm not doing it. He was like, Dad, I need it. I said, remember when I told you told me that it's time for me to stop. I got to stop now. Now you got to learn, you're on your own now. But Dad, you used to, and I did. I was wrong for that. And I shouldn't have co-signed for an apartment for you. You should have got your own in the first place. But we're going to do right now. I'm going to operate in the spirit of integrity. You were right. You went off on me. I'm going to show you how this real thing is done. Go get it on your own, and you're going to get to see what happens. No, but when you go on your own and it don't work the way it worked when it was with me, you're going to get the lesson now. And now you ain't going to be able to be like, I'm mean, I'm whatever, because you're going to be dealing with the whatever. You see what I'm saying? I want y'all to see why this is important. Because you're selfish, right? Naturally. So the reason why I'm telling you to learn this DISC assessment is not because I want you to be deep. But there's no way you're going to not be selfish if you don't know who the people are you're dealing with. So what the DISC assessment is, it's tools. I don't always need a what, but sometimes I what. With the DISC assessment, I got it. I have access to it. Here's what, watch this. You got married, you got kids, this is who y'all are. You got a belt with nothing in it. The D, the I, the S, the C. I just keep these tools with me 24/7. And I'll pull them out when you ever had to do something and you needed a tool and you ain't had a tool? Wasn't that frustrating? Because you know if you had it, you could do it, but you don't have the tool. Does that make sense? So y'all gotta hear me. So what the DISC is going to do, it's going to first show you who you are and help you to make the adjustments you need to make. And then number two, it's going to tell you everybody that you're dealing with, and you'll know which tool you need to use to be able to deal with those individuals. So I know some people are saying, well, E, you got to compromise. I'm a little bit more mature than you. I win wars, not battles. Some of you are immature. You're still on battles. I don't do battles. I do wars. You can have a battle. I ain't tripping on your battle. You can win the first half, second half, whatever you want to win. First quarter, you score more points than me. Third quarter, ain't nobody tripping. I just want to win the game. You looking at stats, how many stats you got. I'm not really interested in that. I want to win the game. You can have first quarter, third quarter. You got so many dunks and your percentage is high. Take that. I just want the W. I want to win 4 out of 3 so I can win the championship. I don't do battles. So if you're sitting there going, E, do I always got to compromise? Yes, if you want to win wars, you do. But if you want battles, then of course you got to have every fight. You got to win every fight. You got to have the last word. I'm not into the last word. And I've seen my wife change. I've seen my son change. And just these two